you sure?
I'm not doing karaoke anymore. None of my buttons work. Are we doing karaoke again? I guess we're doing karaoke again. More karaoke, more! My OBS won't let me touch it. OBS! OBS! It's being... Please don't crash. Ah! Okay, right. I was so worried my OBS was gonna crash and the fucking gnome was gonna crash my OBS. Anyway, no karaoke. No karaoke. Have you watched the new cinematic from Woowa yet? No, but I was gonna say we should watch some Vimdeos today. We should watch Vimdeos. Also, hello. Why is everything breaking? I think everything is cursed today, chat. I don't know what's particularly happened. Watch it, yeah? I mean, I'll watch it. I have a bunch of videos I have to watch. Just use the FS voice commands and keep the mic. I know what it is. I'll go, you know what? If you're gonna yell at me, I'll watch it, okay? Damn. Also, I have to do some laundry. But yes, hello everybody, hello! It's Upathon. It's Upathon AI. My birthday is soon. I'm nervous. I feel fear for some reason. I feel an unimaginable amount of fear because my birthday is soon. But I'm excited. Strange is being strange again? Yeah, I am being strange again. I don't know what game to play today. I'm kind of stumped. I won't lie. Oh, the Black Void! Oh god, the Black Void. Huh? Why is my... Hello? Cyberpunk? I'm not playing Cyberpunk again. But not a bad suggestion. I don't feel like playing Cyberpunk today. Wooa. I don't know. I don't know what to play. I don't know. Yo, Miss Skibbity Riz to you. Jeez Louise. Am I really Skibbity? Chat, is this Skibbity? Are we Skibbity right now? We can watch some videos. How are you guys doing? I know I've seen you the last couple of days, but how are you guys doing? I hope you were doing good. I had to go to an appointment, and then I got the bus back, and then the bus was like taking more billion years, and I was like sat on the bus, and I was like, I could be at home right now. I could be streaming right now. How about Roblox? I don't play Roblox. Okay, right. This is some Roblox lore for you children in chat. I've played Roblox longer than you've been alive, okay? I've played Roblox back ages and ages and ages ago. Alright? Before you were even born, before you were even conceived, okay? I played more Roblox than you could even imagine. I've been alive before Roblox was a thing. Well, same. Also, why are my frames dropping? Encoding overloaded. I don't know what the fuck is happening. Kids these days. Yeah, kids these days and their Roblox and their Minecraft. But I don't know what game to play today. I don't know what game to play. I don't know what game to play. So maybe we just watch some videos and we see what comes to mind. You said there was a new Woowa cinematic, yeah? Shall we load that up? Oh, shall we load up the new Woowa cinematic, chat? And we'll take a look at it. Take a look at it. And then I have And they're Fortnite. I also have there's a video I might watch later about all the pirate software drama. I want to watch that. Because I had a friend explain to me all the pirate software shit. And I kind of get it now. Like, I understand. I'm also an hour I'm like halfway through that video. And I need to clean my room. So it might be a good video to put on while we clean and stuff. But I hope you guys are doing okay. I hope you guys are doing well. I'm happy to see you all. We do have movie night tonight. So hi, cheese. We do have movie night tonight as well. I don't know when that's gonna be, but we do have it, so that's good. It will be in the watch party chat, and we'll probably be muted because I don't know if you can tell, but I'm very tired for some reason today. I haven't had a coffee or a Red Bull. I'm trying to not have one, like, every day. But I really want a coffee. I might actually go out and get a coffee. Like, I'm kind of thinking that I should go get one. Oh god, big yawn. Anyway, let's watch that video. Oh, you came back and you came second? Hell yeah! Second is pretty good. Second's better than last. It could always be worse. Anyway, yeah, I have a couple of videos I want to get through. So if we can get through some videos. So you said I need to watch the Wuthering Waves. I have definitely spelt Wuthering Waves correctly. And definitely not Wuthering Waves. Oh my god, the Final Fantasy house. Okay, chat. There's a video that is about the Final Fantasy house. It's one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Also, why am I lagging? Hello. It's 6 minutes? This cinematic? Jesus Christ, Soda, you're spoiling me. And a Blake appears from the top run! Yay! Super early for you. I'm late too. Anyway, let's watch this cinematic. Let's watch the cinematic. Hello? Where is MissedStrange? You guys are bang outs on Roblox, by the way. Like, what the hell? Why are we banging out Roblox? Like, is it that good? Alright, it's video time. It's video time. I want to watch one about the Final Fantasy house. It's really, like, fucked up, though. I don't know if I want to watch it on stream. Because it is really fucked up, but it's really funny. My favorite cinematic is Static Street of Strange losing it. No. No ads too. No advertisements. Alright, there's the goo. It's Mommy and her feet.
I'm not scared of you.
I'm not scared of you!
Once upon a time,
That's Elganon!
a wicked dragon ravaged the land.
That's Elganon from Dragon Age. Sorry, I got really excited. That's Elganon from Dragon Age. Sorry.
Leaving rubble and ashes in its wake.
It's kind of fire.
Yet a lone armored knight rose up, riding a white horse. He wielded.
Really?
Huh?
We've heard this dusty old story 1,000 times.
Shut up!
It's a
wonderful story.
Smack those children.
Thank you. But it's fallen out of favor these days. No one cares about a knight's tale.
I said,
Best be
why?
heading home, young lady.
She's quite an old lady, I'd say. So move my fast out of the way. What the fuck? Yeah, fuck them kids. Ooh. She's so pretty. She's not elf enough for me, though. She's like elf light. Alright, go. Alright, show off. She's kind of cool, though. So that red bit was a flashback to when she was actually really epic. No, not the old man! No, not the old man! No! This music's really good, actually. Oh, fuck.
Are you certain of this path? You know well what that power heralds. Nothing but overwhelming fear.
There's a lady in my head who calls me Stud Muffin.
The harder you strive, the closer the storm. Only restraint will light the way forward. The name Cartathea is long forgotten, lost to time. Do you wish to lose your future as well?
Damn.
Fear is to be expected.
What do you mean by that?
All it is. To let it stop me is an excuse.
Yeah!
If I embrace it,
Damn.
I will break free.
This cinematic is fucking insane. What the hell?
Like me needs no armor to shield her.
Go, Blorbo, go!
To carry her past.
Also, you fucking idiot child.
With this sword bestowed upon me,
Ooh.
I shall bring the dawn.
Oh, fuck yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. How come she gets 4 swords?
Whatever past lingers, whatever future calls, from now on,
Fuck yeah,
the
though.
moment ahead shall forever be free of the abyss.
Just cut the fucking water in half? Where we can get this girl into reverse. Ooh. Baby. Why are we getting the baby? Just a weekly boss. Jeez, Elf, why does your mom let you have 4 swords? Yeah, I don't even have 1. That shit sounds like Casey Williams. Kind of a girl boss moment. Because she's playable now, isn't she? Multiple streamers to watch. Who do I choose?
I'm not scared.
Whoever you like. Your choice. She doesn't give a fuck. I'm not scared of you. Stranger would not trust you with a sharp object. I already have a sharp object. It's my teeth. It's funny because it's called Withering Waves. And then she sliced that wave in half. Isn't that cool? Also, pretty epic. Oh, for fuck's sake, Izzy. No, not dead internet theory. That was pretty epic. In 12 days. That's pretty good. It's pretty epic. It's pretty epic. Alright, chat. I have to finish doing chores. I have so many chores I have to do. She's playable, so I used the weekly boss to beat the weekly boss. Your teeth can't even reach our ankles. I'm not that tiny. I have an hour-long video that I'm partway through that I might put on so that I can just finish doing my laundry, because if I don't do my laundry, I'm gonna die. So chat, I'm gonna put that on, and then I'm gonna do my laundry and I'll be back, and then we'll play a game. I don't think I'm gonna play 14. I don't think I'm gonna play 14. I think we're gonna play Fields of Mystria. I think we're gonna have a chill day today. We're gonna play some Fields of Mystria. I still got some stuff to do. Also, did you know there is? Oh shit, I'm too short. my mom said it's my turn on my mom said my mom said that it's my turn on the grimoire. The Final Fantasy house is so funny. Short Stag. Hey, yo. Crazy. I've been watching lots of D&D horror stories. Oh, wait. No, okay, right. This is a 16-minute video, and it's about... So, in Final Fantasy XIV, there was this boss. I can't remember what it was called, but it's one of the hardest fucking world bosses ever. I want to show you this video. It is so... I want to give you this information because it is so fucking funny to me. Like, it is so funny that this boss was, like, unbeatable. Also, I've watched this video, like, 3 times. So... Mom says it's my turn with the Doomsday device. Hi, Eclipse. Oh. A 9. Also, let me show you this video then, and then I'm going to do some chores, okay? I basically just have to... My room is full of rubbish. Don't tell V. My room is full of rubbish. Yeah. I gotta clean up. No ads, by the way. That's what you get when your girl has YouTube Premium. Ooh. The music, what the hell? This is Sekiro.
One of the most fundamental parts of any video game is its boss encounters. Acting
it's
as
a British man!
Test gamers, bosses have been used within video games since 1975.
Okay, I'm gonna be back in a second, alright, folks?
Appeared within a text-based adventure game called D&D.
D&D?
Video game developers have continued to raise the bar for what were dubbed boss encounters, creating numerous types of bosses that have been designed to gauge progress or even test a player's understanding of various mechanics. But one of the more intriguing evolutions, which is most commonly found within role-playing games, is the super boss. Often appearing as optional encounters, super bosses have become notorious for being much stronger than bosses associated.
The music's kind of banging, by the way. Anyway, I'm gonna turn this up.
Require significant grinding so as to overpower or at least level the playing field. But more often than not, this needs to be combined with an intricate knowledge of the game's underlying systems in order to succeed. Within the Final Fantasy franchise, even though Warmech, which appeared as a random encounter within the original Final Fantasy, is considered to be an honorary super boss, the first purpose-built super bosses appeared within Final Fantasy V, Omega Weapon, and Shinryu. Since then, super bosses have become an expected part of the Final Fantasy experience, with notable inclusions being Ruby and Emerald Weapon, Ozma, and Penance. But once MMORPGs entered into the scene, the notion of super bosses evolved in a significant manner. As they were so fundamental to the experience of role-playing, developers were keen to include this category of boss when they developed MMOs, and Final Fantasy XI was no exception. But due to the game being quite literally massive in comparison to every prior Final Fantasy, the role of super bosses was changed. In the initial sense, due to the world of Vana'diel being so huge in comparison to previous game worlds, it meant even though they were still quite sparse, relatively speaking, a significant volume of super bosses were created. Some will be simple reskins of existing monsters, appearing in place of regular spawns and given unique names and unique drops. Others would be wholly different, even featuring original designs and having more purpose-built spawn locations. But perhaps the main change was that different tiers of super boss were created. Within earlier games, some super bosses would be easier than others, but the majority would still be pretty tough to square off against if you weren't in the endgame phase. But within Final Fantasy XI, notorious monsters were designed to be defeatable under a huge array of player strength circumstances. Bubbly Bernie, for example, could be defeated by a small party composed of jobs under level 10 or even soloed by players at level 14. Very weak by standards previously set for super bosses, but Bubbly Bernie was still classified as a notorious monster nonetheless. Within this particular grouping, numerous equivalents also existed so that each starter region had a comparative experience, including the likes of Jaggedy-Eared Jack and Tom Tit Tat. And as players increased in level, so too did the volume of notorious monsters they could tackle. It meant Final Fantasy XI would end up containing literally hundreds of notorious monsters, and it led to another classification.
What's the name of this boss again? I can't remember.
High, honorific, or
God,
heavy
sorry,
notorious
it's so loud.
monster. Billed as a much more exclusive group, high notorious
Oh my
monsters
god,
such
old
as
Final
Circuit
Fantasy
would often
14
use
looks
an
so...
alliance battle-hardened maximum
Was it Final
level
Fantasy
players to
11
take
at the time,
down.
was it not?
And due to the
It
potential
looks so
spells and
jank.
frequent spawning times, the right to fight against one would be hotly contested, with rival Link shells camping around the spawn locations and competing to be the first to engage. Due to their strength, it wouldn't be too irregular.
It looks
of an
so,
occurrence to see an
like,
alliance without doing an
janky.
encounter, allowing another rival Link shell to swoop in and attempt to defeat it for themselves. And this would be especially true whenever new high notorious monsters were added into the game, as alliances would be attempting to figure out if there was
Look
a
how, like, the old UI looks. Like, sorry, I'm still BRB technically, but the old UI was, like, very much more like how Final Fantasy looks. I feel like 14 looks weird. Is this a me thing? I think 14 looks weird. Welcome back. I need to tidy my room first, but I am technically back. But, like, old 14 looks so... I don't know. It looks more like Final Fantasy than current 14 does. In a way. It's so weird. But I like it. It's a cool premise. Like, the actual feel and look of it is so cool. But yes. We're not that far through, so I'm gonna tidy my room, and then I'm gonna keep the video turned up quite high so I can actually hear it. But I need to tidy my room so bad because my room is messy. My bad.
in its armor that would allow them to be the first to prevail. The initial instance of this happening came via the high notorious monsters that were added alongside Rise of Zilart, the game's first expansion. It saw Fafnir and Nidhogg added to the Dragon's Eyrie, as well as the Sky Notorious monsters, which were based off of the Four Symbols and had Kirin as the ultimate prize. But with players' skill levels consistently rising, as well as the power creep that always happens as MMOs persist and release updates to keep players engaged, the developers were in a constant battle to create high notorious monsters that were not only more intriguing to players in terms of how and where they could be accessed, but also much more difficult, so as to continue posing a challenge and providing opportunities for bragging rights amongst the game's best players. This all came to a head during development of the game's second expansion, as it led to the creation of a devilish high notorious monster called Absolute Virtue. Chains of Promathia was released on the 21st of September 2004, the same day Final Fantasy XI became available to players in Europe. But it wouldn't be until the 21st of April 2005 that Absolute Virtue would be patched into the game. Found within the Lumoria region, Absolute Virtue was one of 7 notorious monsters inserted into that particular area of the game. The others were presented as jailers, each named after a respective virtue, and they were all interconnected, built to work towards a clear objective, creating the ultimate challenge for players.
That's what his name was, Absolute
When
Virtue.
speaking during AMA on Reddit
That's
back
what
in
it was.
2006, Akihiko Matsui and Yoji Fujito, who were the then producer and director of Final Fantasy XI respectively, shared that when creating Absolute Virtue, they wanted to create the ultimate endgame boss. They had gained an appreciation that there were people amongst the player base who wanted to form up in large
Me, a dude who hasn't played Final Fantasy XIV, hoping for the day when the game has an extension conclusion that's filling and good, so I can watch some crazy dude play through the whole thing in a multi-year-long Let's Play. What? You guys never played Final Fantasy? Okay, right. Real talk. 14 has a free trial, okay? Play the first 2 expansions, and if you don't like the first 2 expansions, don't play the game anymore. Neo, you would fucking love Shadowbringers, because you're so edgy little fuck. No, Absolute Virtue is such a Final Fantasy. It really is. I watched another video about Absolute Virtue, but yeah, Neo, you would love Shadowbringers. You can story skip too, but you are going to miss some context. And also it costs money. I don't understand why story skipping costs money. Like, even if you already played the game. I think if you have a game and your sub is over like a year old, you should have a discounted amount for your story skip. Like, you shouldn't be spending the whole amount to story skip. Anyway, sorry, I'm cleaning my room currently. I should probably just put... Hold on. Let me put a pinned message say I'm cleaning my room. Elf is cleaning her room. Enjoy video. Smiley face. There you go. Now everyone knows, so they don't come in and they're like, huh? I have 100 other game series I have to play. I have a whole Toho series to go through. Oh my god, good luck going through the Toho series.
Lodge groups and tackle challenges that weren't just run-of-the-mill. They wanted to really be challenged in the realist sense. So the developers worked hard to offer them that challenge, something that could only be overcome when wearing the strongest gear, having methodical preparation, and a solid, ironclad strategy. It was an intriguing goal, and it was a goal that had been explored in many video games before, but within the realm of the MMO, balancing proved to be a very tricky concept when creating this type of encounter, and this was something that players found out when they came face to face with Absolute Virtue for the first time. That in itself took a while though, as Absolute Virtue could only be found hidden deep within the expansion, behind layers upon layers of content that would need to be completed first, as well as punishing drop rates that prevented players from obtaining the necessary trigger items. The final piece of that ever-long puzzle was then obtaining the 4th, 5th and 6th virtues from the Jailer of Justice, the Jailer of Hope and the Jailer of Prudence. They could then be traded to a question mark within the L2 region to spawn the Jailer of Love, which at the time was believed to be the conclusion of that particular line of notorious monsters. And that line of thinking stayed.
The main thing, I'm going to go outside for a second, so I'm just going to say this. The main thing about Absolute Virtue that I remember in terms of the reason why the story is so big is because people did beat this boss. It's not an unbeatable boss. People did beat it. But the developers said, no, you didn't beat it, it doesn't count. So they just, like, scrapped all their content. It's so crazy. It's so crazy. They're like, no, you didn't beat it how we want it to be. It's like, wait, you go outside? Hell no. But yeah, people were, like, mad. They were like, the developers were like, no, you have to beat it the way that we want to beat it. Like, that kind of thing. It was really crazy at the time. Anyway, I'll be back.
For some time, as even though Absolute Virtue could spawn after defeating the Jailer of Love, its spawn rate was quite low, and as so few people even got that far, the first known occurrence of Absolute Virtue appearing was apparently around the 3rd of November of that year, some 7 months after it had been patched into the game. At that time, a link shell which was based on the Pandemonium server and called Ord of the Blue Garter was completely unprepared, and what ensued was nothing short of chaos. They still did manage to learn a lot, however, despite only managing to decrease Absolute Virtue's health by 3%. After the discovery of the boss, many other endgame link shells attempted to take down Absolute Virtue, but none of them could even make a dent. And it wouldn't be until March 2006, another 5 months later, and almost a year after it had been patched into the game, that some semblance of viable strategy started to form. After fighting for about 2 hours, a link shell called Limit Break noticed that Absolute Virtue seemed to run out of mana, and stopped using its 2-hour abilities. They still could not deal much damage due to Absolute Virtue's insane auto-regen, but they also weren't at too much risk of being defeated either. So they worked on a shift rotation system throughout the night to try and learn as much as they could about Absolute Virtue's attack patterns and how it interacted with the area in which it spawned. The following day, everyone reconvened to try a proper attempt, and they used everything they had learned to drop absolute virtue down to 88% health, then 60%, and then 51%. Everything seemed to be going incredibly well until absolute virtue landed what was described by a blogger called Toughless as the most famous benediction of all time, as absolute virtue healed for 46,613 health. Not long after, a full wipe occurred, but Limit Break were undeterred and vowed to continue the fight. Each time, they were able to make some progress until absolute virtue used benediction again to go back to full health, and this cycle repeated over the remainder of what ended up being a 30-hour gaming session. When they eventually decided to call it a day due to how difficult the fight was, one of the Link Shell members even posted that they believed players were encountering the foe before the developers had provided the legitimate means, through either new equipment that was strong enough or new gameplay mechanics, in order to actually succeed. But even though they had managed to make solid progress, their tactics were also not without controversy, as rival Link Shells deemed them dishonourable, as they'd been able to manipulate the train using the so-called Wall of Justice to weaken absolute virtue, which they felt constituted cheating. A week later, another Link Shell tried the same strategy, and after GMs reportedly gave them the all clear to use the Wall of Justice method, live posting of the attempt ensued. And after they got it down to 51%,
Okay, hold on. I'm back. Did you guys see the whole thing? Yes, they literally are an angry GM. They were like, no, you didn't beat it how we wanted you to beat it. Thus, your completion is invalid. It's crazy.
there started to become a real belief that victory was within reach. 30 minutes later, and absolute virtue had been defeated.
Yay!
To much of the ire of those who took part, there were apparently no rewards granted of any note.
Yeah, they
2
didn't
weeks
get
later,
any
another
items.
Link Shell on
So the
Silk-
big thing about doing these bosses, right? If anyone's played any MMO, you know. Also, my keys. Also, like, listen, chat. I have a lot of keys on my keyring. But the big thing about any MMO is, like, you kill the hard creature to get something, okay? Like, or you get, like, an item that nobody else has. Like... Or like, oh, like, even if it's a little thing, like a thing that is untradeable, you know, something like that. No, they just said, fuck it. They said, fuck it. Oh no, your approval. Hello, Goo. Hello, Glue. Oh, 7. Hello, welcome back. Also, I don't know why. Welcome. But yeah, they were literally like, no, your interpretation is invalid. Jingle keys for ADHD viewers. Okay. Chat, because I have a lot. I have keys to my store. I have 2 sets of keys to my store. I have a bunch of key rings. Is this what you want? Is this what you want? Hold on. Keys! Keys! Oh no, you're too old for that, right? You're too old for the whole keys thing. Keys, 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 keys.
managed to defeat absolute virtue using the same exploit, and then another on Titan, and another on
Yeah, they
Midnight.
found an
But even though
exploit
the
out and they
versus
started
this
killing it
time,
like
They
that.
were still relatively weak, and it led players to believe that not only was the fight hard as nails, but so too were its drop rates incredibly low. Square Enix responded in the most brutal of terms, warning players that anyone found using the Wall of Justice exploit to defeat Absolute Virtue would be banned from the game.
Yep.
And they also patched Absolute Virtue with a new draw-in move that rendered the strategy ineffective.
Yep.
After further exploits were then identified, such as the Goblin Footprint, patches were issued again and again, and players were met with the same show of force with bans threatened. It meant by the time the 2006 Vanifest rolled around, due to there being so many unsuccessful attempts to defeat Absolute Virtue through legitimate means, the development team decided to offer a ray of hope by providing a small hint. They revealed that Absolute Virtue's auto-regen could be halved by the swift defeat of the add-ons summoned by the Jailer of Love, and that the regen effect could then be completely removed by using elemental attacks that corresponded with the current day of the week, with the example given...
What the f- I forgot about this. Okay, so... For those who missed it, right? Listen to this. Listen to this shit, okay?
Jailer of Love. Regen hope by
So the developers were like, okay, here's a way that you can defeat absolute virtue. We'll give it to you on a silver platter. Here it is.
Legitimate means, the development team decided to offer a ray of hope by providing a small hint. They revealed that Absolute Virtue's auto-regen could be halved by the swift defeat of the add-ons summoned by the Jailer of Love, and that the regen effect could then be completely removed by using elemental attacks that corresponded with the current day of the week, with the example given to use fire on Fire's Day. But even though this was
So, you have to kill an ad. Okay, right. This is my understanding of it. You have to kill an ad. And depending on what day of the week it is, depends on what damage you should be using. Are we using astrology to be the boss? Yes, quite literally. Like, that's insane. That is literally insane. Why would you put that in a game?
an official response from the development team, it didn't provide the tools
He's
players
kinda
needed
cute,
in order
though.
to succeed, and many felt it was either mistranslated or a misinterpretation. As such, as nobody was able to defeat Absolute Virtue by the
No,
time
because
the
nobody actually
2007
beat this
Battle
content.
Festival
Wait, nobody
round,
beat this? Patchwork? Did no one actually beat this? Because I remember that they did this, and then because people were cheesing it, right? And they were like, "If you're found cheesing it, death." They didn't say that, but like they said something along those lines, right? Like, it doesn't count if you cheesed it, right? And then they were like, "Okay, guys, since some of you are doing it, here's how you actually do it." And then everyone was like, "Okay." It literally two exploits or vastly out levels exploits patches later. They beat it with exploits, but the devs rolled them back. Then people beat it 3 expansions later. Jeez Louise, that is insane. Because I remember, oh god, found cheesing it, we will hunt you down. Die. I get the mentality of being like, oh, don't cheese it, because we don't want, like, we want people to do this legitimately. But also, that you have to make it not, like, complicated. If that makes sense. Like, even, like, fucking Molten Core in WoW, right, for example, is not as difficult as this. Like, does that make sense? Am I do I not know enough? Am I being stupid? Am I being dumb? Or is that just normal people thing to say? Absolute Virtue, he lives 5 minutes away. Oh yeah, it's also one of the reasons that the games have the "you've been playing for over an hour, please take a break" message, because people were literally sat there for 11 hours. 11 Jerry hours. Jeez Louise. 11. Actually, I can't lie. I finished Stormblood in a week. Not Stormblood. Shadowbringers in a week. And one of the days I called in sick to work. I think I played it like from 8 AM until like 4 in the morning. I did take breaks though. I've never bashed out a game that hard in my life, by the way. The only other game that's come close is Dragon Age. Like, that's literally it.
The developers chose to address the topic once again during one of their
Go
development
on, Mr.
sessions.
Happy. You can do
Here
it.
they noted that Absolute Virtue had not been designed to be undefeatable, and that it was possible to win, assuming players had the right setup, the right gear, and the right strategy. However, due to there being, again, so many failed attempts, with nobody able to defeat it, despite it being live for over 2 years, they committed to producing a video showing them defeating the boss using the correct strategy. That video arrived on the 13th of February 2008.
Wait. I didn't know this. The devs made a video being like, it's fucking easy. And then they did it. That's not the point. That's not the point. It doesn't matter, okay, because every boss in every game gets play tested by the devs, right? And that's fine. You can play test your content, but you don't show me you killing a thing that they thought that they were better. They designed the boss. That's like playing D&D, making a creature, making a bunch of characters, and then killing the boss. And then being like, why can't my party do this? This is easy. It's like, yeah, because you fucking designed it. Am I insane? Am I going insane? Like, that... Ah! Like... Watch out, guys. This shit is easy. What the fuck are they talking about? Oh my god, sorry. This is making me go insane. You're insane, but right. This is insanity. Hold on. My brain fucking hurts.
Many failed attempts, with nobody able to defeat it, despite it being live for over 2 years.
2
they committed to
years!
producing a video showing them defeating the boss.
Yeah, it's funny. Imagine Yoshi P and the dev team showing off their unending coils run and calling it easy. Yeah, it's like, you made it. You, of course you think it's easy. Like, I feel like I feel lightheaded. I feel like I'm not sat down right now. I'm stood up at my desk. But fucking Jesus Christ, I feel insane. Jeez Louise.
Correct strategy. That video arrived on the 13th of February 2008 and it has since become infamous. The video did indeed show the development team defeating Absolute Virtue, and via subtly hinting at certain sequences that players might want to pay attention to, it revealed one of the key steps to defeating the monumental foe. But it also showed a serious problem with the fight itself. For the solution to work, players would need impeccable timing, and it was quickly established that such timing wasn't anywhere near as forgiving within the live server environment due to lag.
Yes! See? That was literally what I was going to say. You can, as a dev, create an instance that has no fucking lag, okay? But your players don't get to experience that because there is lag on every fucking server everywhere. Emotes that are on sync on your screen are not on sync on another player's screen. And that's fine. That's okay. That happens. It's not an issue. It's just a thing that happens in MMOs. Oh my god. I'm losing my mind.
Development team
I already knew all this.
Outside of them being
Why am I
able to
mad?
develop the boss and knew its weaknesses was due to their lag being almost non-existent,
Yep.
owing to their physical proximity to the data center.
Yep.
It was also speculated that the video took so long to release due to the difficulty of the fight. Questions were also raised about the party's setup, as it wasn't consistent with messaging that had also been communicated by Mitsutoshi Kondai, who was then a planner working on the game. A few months later, at the Premiere Site Summit 2008, Sage Sundi, who was the global online producer and lead game master of Final Fantasy XI, shared that it had actually taken the development team 18 hours and numerous attempts.
Jesus Christ!
Nonetheless, armed with this knowledge, a link shell called Beyond the Limitation were able to best Absolute Virtue, and the following month, due to the media storm surrounding Pandemonium Warden, Square Enix patched in a change that prevented players from fighting against the boss for such long periods, forcing it to despawn after 2 hours and come back renewed. In response to this
What? So I can spend 2 hours on this fucking thing. It's like it's kind of like placing a quick time event on a Twitch stream. Imagine if you guys had to do a QTE to keep watching the stream.
new change, a link shell figured out that Absolute Virtue could be defeated by using a large number of Dark Knights armed with Kraken clubs, using Blood Weapon, Soul Eater, and Drain 2, along with some heavily optimized equipment.
Jesus.
With all the power creep changes that had happened in the 3 years since Absolute Virtue had been inserted into the game, it meant they were able to beat the fight in just 30 seconds.
Oh my god!
The victory was lauded for its innovation, and other link shells were able to replicate the feat. Square Enix did not deem it acceptable, and only a few days later issued a new patch that
You're joking! That's smart! This is such a DM thing! Ah, it pisses me off! I hate when fucking people are like, well, you didn't kill the thing exactly how I wanted it to be killed. So, you know, Baba Boy. Like, what do you mean? Your players are smart enough to think of a solution that is batshit insane. And they did it! In 30 seconds! They spent time prepping that, they've spent time prepping the raid, they spent time studying fucking Absolute Virtue, and then you're just like, womp womp, you don't fucking get that! Shut up! Oh god, it's so annoying!
Nerf the strategy and the entire Dark Knight job, leading to frustration being vented.
They fucking reworked the whole job?! I need to calm down. I need to calm down. Jesus Christ. Jesus.
This new enhancement of Absolute Virtue reset the playing field yet again. And even though they later dropped its health and stats and other strategies were found, such as one focusing around an alliance of scholars, Square Enix continued to modify Absolute Virtue so that these strategies, which they did not deem to be the correct way of defeating the boss, were rendered useless.
They just said, fuck it. It's not the right way. It's not how we wanted you to kill it. How do you want me to kill it? At that point, I'd be like, how do you want me to kill this boss? 'Cause I don't know how.
As such, Absolute Virtue remained nigh impossible to beat until December 2011, some 6.5 years after it had been added to the game, when the level cap was raised from 75 to 99. This increased the relative strength of each individual party member, making it much easier to defeat Absolute Virtue, and as time went on, and as the power creep continued, it would even become soloable under the right circumstances. But the fact it took so long to get to that point is pretty insane, and it's why Absolute Virtue has to stand as pretty much the hardest boss in video game history, because not only was it rock hard in the first...
Yeah, it was, okay, it's artificially hard. It is a hard boss, right? It is a hard thing to defeat, but they made it 10 times more difficult. The devs wanted me to roll a path in that 20 to shank the boss, but the DM actually wanted me to get the Destructor Sword from Mount Get-Good. It's so annoying!
place, even when players found out ways to overcome the odds, the developers were unsatisfied and proceeded to keep altering the deal, just like Darth Vader.
Furthermore, I wish you to wear this dress and bonnet.
This was never a condition of our
I
arrangement.
have altered the deal.
Based on this,
I have
we're
altered the
pretty intrigued
deal.
to understand how many of you managed to defeat Absolute Virtue through legitimate means.
The hardest
and
boss
at
was
which
the
point you were
devs.
able to accomplish this milestone. Let us know in the comments below, and be sure to let us know if you enjoyed this more focused look at the Final Fantasy franchise.
That was a good video, by the way. Hold on. I like that video. Hold on. Am I subbed to this guy? I'm not. Let me sub to him. Let's like the video, chat. If we like the video, we like the video. Jeez Louise! Fucking... That... Why was it so hard to kill Absolute Virtue? Because the devs said, nah. I'm just going through my... watch later. Is there anything else I want to watch later that isn't, like, super heavy? Yeah, you could, yeah, if it's a bug, then, like, yeah. But, like... I don't know. No, but the thing about the Dark Knight one is that they weren't using a bug for the Dark Knight one. They were using a mechanic that Dark Knight had. They were using what they had in the game. And the devs were like, no, you can't do that. You can't do that because you can't do it. You can't. The Impossible GeoGuessr Challenge? What's that? There's this video I have called the Goomonomicon. What about Arcane? We're not watching that. The Final Fantasy House. Yeah, fuck it, I got time. This is a down the rabbit hole video. Oh no, not the Final Fantasy House. Does anyone, wait, hold on. Before we start, does anyone know about this story? If you do, the sound of, this shit is diabolical. This shit is I don't know if this video has trigger warnings in it. Hold on. Basically, these guys came in like, this kid was like, oh, I need to like live somewhere, right? And they go into this hat, like they're like, oh, I'm looking for roommates, and they find these roommates, and all these roommates basically kin Final Fantasy characters, but also they're lazy as fuck and don't do anything. What you doing? We're watching videos together, Jacob. How are you doing? We're just watching some videos because I don't know what to play just yet. I don't really feel like in the mood for gaming currently. I just feel like watching shit.
Internet stories, there are few as infamous as the Final Fantasy house.
Oh, the Final...
The details are unclear to most who remember it. Its reputation is still sometimes invoked on forums in reference to terrible housemates or the eccentric potential from online communities, especially fandoms. What's more, it was one of the main channels through which internet users were introduced to the otherkin phenomenon.
Yes. So this is like the whole. This is how like people were introduced to the whole like otherkin shit. It's so cool.
To see house.
Look who it is. Me?
On April 18, 2005, a LiveJournal user under the handle of GenkiCrack made a long, scattered post detailing his experience with specific fans of Final Fantasy VII, a popular...
Basically, this singular dude got a Giga challenge, which was absolutely... What's otherkin? How do we describe otherkin? Should we just search it? Hold on. Otherkin. Hello. Opera. Otherkin are people who believe that they were born not as like the wrong gender or something, but they believe that they are not fully human. So like, you see people refer to, yeah, they're partially an animal or partially a mythical being. So they believe that they're like reincarnated as a human, but they actually have like the soul of a, I don't know, fucking unicorn. I'm not here to debate the legality of otherkin or like if it's actually a thing. But yeah, it is a thing. It's very DeviantArt. Oh yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that is exactly. I think that person identifies, that girl identifies as otherkin. Yeah, like that's what it means.
Popular and influential story-driven game from Japan. He introduced it by writing, "These people are dangerous. This is not a joke. This is my experience with them." He began by explaining his place within the fandom. Quote, "Most people watching the journal now probably don't know this, but back in the day, I ran a pretty popular website devoted to the characters Cloud and the very minor character Zack from Final Fantasy VII. It was really the only comprehensive one out there about the two, which was why it got such notice. I was used to receiving fan mail or other people's fan art, which I'd put up on the website." Unquote. At the time of his alleged experience, he explained that he was a college freshman and a heavy drinker. In 2002,
what the hell?
That
sucks.
A person calling herself Hojo, referencing the mad scientist villain from the game, and the two began conversing with each other occasionally over AOL Instant Messenger. Hojo had her own fan site dedicated to her namesake, and following the same pattern, she began calling the writer Zack after his site. At the time, he thought nothing of this. Sometime after, he was introduced to Hojo's wife, who went by Genova, or Jen, after an ancient evil and alien creature from the game. I
don't know. I think if you start kinning like ancient evil creatures, like Genova, I'm kind of worried about you a little bit.
Describes their first encounter online. Quote, "Then came a good old bombshell. I was asked if I had any memories of past lives. I do believe in past lives. I think it's a pretty valid cycle given how many cultures believe in it. So I told her no, I didn't, but I did believe in it. I should never, ever have said that. It was like inviting the vampire into my house. Jen's attack was swift and sure. She began in a flurry explaining things to me, how there are alternate universes. Do you grant me that? Sure, there could be. And in those universes, maybe, just maybe, video games actually happened. I thought it could be plausible, because I like imagining
video games actually happened.
Through all of this and all this flurry, she tells me
I don't
that
think
she
so.
thinks in a past life, I was Zack from Final Fantasy VII. Think about it, she said. You're both country grown. You both have that instinct of dragging off friends who could be left behind. You'd take a bullet for someone, right? You say you don't believe in magic or any of that, and he wanted to be a mercenary. For all of it.
Chat. Nah. That's like, what else am I supposed to say? Like, oh, are you? I don't even know. This is cringe. Look, we know that I'm not actually an elf girl IRL. I know I'm not an elf girl IRL. This is cringe. I'm gonna be back in like 17 minutes.
We even live in a basement like he was locked in.
I'm trying to see what game I want to play.
Your brain with freshman
I might play
idiocy and
Final
vodka,
Fantasy, but I'm
and
quite
this will
far in the
suddenly make
story,
sense.
so I don't want to like
Sure,
spoil shit
maybe
for
I'm
people.
not him now, I said, but it was possible. Unquote. The writer agreed to meet them in the town of State College, Pennsylvania that winter to stay
That looks
at
really
their
nice, the
apartment
hell.
a week before Christmas. He was met at the bus stop by Hojo, wearing a lab coat, who escorted him back to where they were living. Quote, when we arrived at the apartment, Jen, who insisted I call her Genova and would often refer to herself as Jenny Nova, came storming up to Hojo and I, screaming in Hojo's face. I have no idea what
I think
it
they
was
were left in
about.
the oven
She
for a
was
little bit
wearing
too
a purple
long. Yeah, I
skirt
think so
pulled up
too.
around her breasts. It looked like
Whoa!
she had just got out of bed, and I was, to say the very least, intimidated. About 3 seconds later, she whirled around in a quick change. Suddenly, the nicest person ever. Whatever she was mad about was out the window. About this time, I started to realize,
Boobs!
though,
Boobs
Jen
mentioned.
wasn't role-playing when she talked
Jenny
about her children
Nova.
and other selves. Jen is what the internet calls a soul bonder, or in other words, batshit loony. She believes she has a lot of people living in her head talking, and when she wants to take on a personality that best fits a situation for her personal gain, she acts one out. I.e., if she wanted to get sympathy, she would raise the pitch of her voice and pretend to be an innocent child.
Oh, see, I don't know if that. I mean, obviously it's a mental health thing, but like, I don't know if she was doing that on purpose. Maybe she was. I know how this story progresses, so.
Unquote.
Jenny Nova
Despite
is
these
too much,
occurrences,
though.
The writer's overall experience was positive, and he would frequently return for visits, each
Aw.
time paying $300 for a bus ticket. With
$300
every visit, he
for
would
a
meet someone
bus?
new, many of
$300 for a bus ticket? Is that normal? Chat, is that normal? Americans? What the hell?
them soul bonders themselves. Jen would frequently ask for money to buy food, and the writer would relent, feeling a sense of obligation. She would also attempt to help the writer and others grow more attached to whatever Final Fantasy character she had assigned to them. This was achieved through various means, including pantomimed magical battles,
You're not
and
American,
past
Neo.
life regression involving laying on the floor and listening to music from the game. In one instance, on a trip to the college, she and Hojo locked the writer in a soundproof room past the point of panic to help him, quote, remember being Zack. Another time, when meeting
Don't
someone
lock me in a
soul bonded with
soundproof
the character
room.
Eris, Jen
I'm
attempted to coax them
already
into
paranoid as is, right? I'm already so fucking paranoid. Don't lock me in a fucking soundproof room where I can hear the sound of my own heartbeat. Ah, God. That's like my biggest fear. A soundproof room.
sleeping together. To this end, she announced that she was going to lace their food with aphrodisiacs, but whether she actually did so or not, her demands were not realized. As strange as these instances were, however, they were not enough to dissuade the writer.
I'm
when
American,
Jen
that's not right at
Hojo
all. That's
proposed that
crazy.
he move
300
in with
quid
them.
for a bus? There's no way that's true. It
The writer
depends on the
moved
state,
into
I
the State
guess.
College apartment in the summer of 2003, with plans to only stay for the
2003? Oh my
season.
God.
Within 3 days, he found a part-time job at a supermarket to help pay for food and rent, and he quit drinking as well.
Nice,
His
well done,
experience
OP.
quickly degraded. Quote, I can't even say what came first, chicken or egg, but let's just say that after 1 week, I was getting sick of it. I was the workhorse. I guess because I was Zack, I was therefore the manly man, as opposed to Jen the Cetra Queen or Hojo the frail scientist. Jen quit her babysitting job and refused to look for another one. I was the one who had to carry groceries to and from the house, the one who made the money to feed everyone, the one who had to fix or move furniture when it needed to be fixed or moved. My computer could rarely get online because Jen was on almost 24/7. The rest of the time she would watch me as I typed, so I could never make a journal entry that read something along the lines of, "Jen is abusing me, help me God, I'm tired and I want out of here."
Damn.
Unquote. Jen's pattern of surveillance worsened quickly. She would always be listening in on calls, reading his online interactions, and demanding to know wherever he was going
What the
to keep
fuck?
track of him. She would frequently wake him up in the middle of the night for sundry magical errands, depriving him of sleep. She demanded he spend his meager paycheck on $10 steaks for dinner, which made him sick. And when those would only last one night, she and Hojo had him ask for unsold food at the supermarket.
That's
Take out the garbage or
nasty.
clean besides the writer, who only washed the dishes. And so the stink festered in the apartment in the hot Pennsylvania summer. Jen only
Ew.
wore a single dress and refused to bathe, opting instead to use scented oil. The writer described
They're the
the
type
smell
of people
the
that say,
apartment as
actually
rotting
these people playing Final Fantasy 14 online are so true,
flesh
Neo.
and a
I
miasma
fucking
of
love
filth with
FF14
sparkle
though.
Sunshine Fairy artificial sugar scent sprayed over it. What's more, Jen and Hojo would beat each other loudly and with increasing frequency behind their bedroom
damn,
door
abuse.
as the summer continued, each time followed by noisy sex. This
Whoa!
sleep deprivation,
Fucking hell, Jesus Christ. That's crazy.
surveillance, and social isolation eroded the writer's will, and he began supporting them blindly. For example, while the writer was staying there, Eris grew tired of Jen, and the two had a falling out. The writer described the aftermath. Quote, "Apparently, Eris called one evening when Hojo and I were at the used bookstore, stealing books, yes, that poor, and
Damn.
said she wanted some of her things back that she had left at the apartment. Jen exploded. She called Hojo's cell phone in tears, screaming she was going to kill herself. I believed it. Hojo called Sid and demanded he go over.
Who the fuck is
Hojo
Sid?
called Eris and screamed at her. I told her off too. We rented a taxi with money we didn't have and raced home. Jen, who had been screaming she had slit her wrists, was sitting in the middle of the floor. Sid was draping damp cloths on her wrists. I woke up for a second
Jesus
and knew
Christ.
this was bullshit. I had a problem with self-injury, so I knew very well the sight of a deep cut and the sight of a light cut.
Damn!
I know
OP
well
really
knife
said.
wounds. Jen had scratched herself, horizontally on the wrists. Maybe it had been with a safety pin or a butter knife. It was not any kind of suicide attempt. At the most, it would sting. But I was still mad at Eris, because I was supposed to be. I wrote her nasty emails, I joined them in bashing her, I ignored her when she came to pick up her stuff, even though she obviously wanted to stay.
Oh, that sucks.
I regret that now, because we never reconciled then. Maybe if I had got a clue and tried to get out with her, things would have turned out different. Unquote.
Fucking
Soon, he was
insane
left with
women.
no money to leave and no confidence to ask for help. Even when he attempted to talk to his father at a payphone, Jen would go hunting for him. Then, when the filth in the apartment grew unbearable, Jen and Hojo asked their landlord if they could move to a smaller, single-room apartment, further increasing their proximity. The writer was the one to move the boxes. Soon after the move, the supermarket cut the writer's job to 1 hour a week. But even so, Hojo...
Hold on. That's not legal, right? 1 hour a week as like a contract? Are you insane? No one can live off of that. Like, the whole point of jobs are so you can live off of them. If I went to my job and they were like, oh, we're cutting your hours to like 22 or whatever, I'd be like, I can't live off that. I cannot do the shit I want to do off that. The whole point of a job is to live off of it. I mean, none of this seems legal. This doesn't, yeah, I think I actually think some of this is somewhat wrong, like, or like embellished. Like, I don't believe that the 1 hour a week is legal in America. It can't be. 1 hour.
Buy new things for the apartment, implying that
That
she had
can't.
been hiding
Okay,
money away
they
in
are
order to
in
make her
Pennsylvania, by the way. So if you're Pennsylvanian, you'll have more insight. If you're not, then I guess again
writer
you
pay for
won't. But
things. Here, as they did many other times, they fought publicly. However, there was one person from the circle of friends in town who had consistently helped to stabilize the writer's mental state.
Sid.
A person who went by Sid, also a name from Final Fantasy, though the author describes him as having, quote, 1 foot in reality. He wrote, Sid occasionally would come over. When he did, I was glad because it was someone else. But he was and still does have his dickish moments. Jen would make these the be-all end-all, and Renee would back her up. I began to think he was like that all the time and didn't want to hang out with him when he was gone. Once he came back, they had to restart the process of brainwashing me all over again." Unquote. It was after one of these visits
These
that
women
the
are
writer finally
insane.
gathered the will to leave. Inspired after someone had stolen his shoes, he left everything behind in the apartment and walked the streets barefoot. By the end, he had spent a total of 2 months living with Jen and Hojo. After being homeless for a few days, Sid...
That is a real thing.
thing.
As someone who's lived this experience, not exactly one-to-one, stealing your shoes or throwing your shoes away is a really, really common abuse tactic. I don't know if anyone else has experienced this. But it seems like abusers are like, if you don't have shoes, you won't walk there. You won't walk there. It's like, that won't stop people. It's such a weird... It's happened to me. I've had my shoes, like, chucked away. And I was like, well, I need those. I'm not gonna... Also, it never stops me. Shoes do not stop me from walking places. Do they help? Yes. They don't stop me. I've never understood that tactic.
Brooklyn. Besides his own account, the writer spoke of a few others involved with Jen.
Yeah, who the fuck is he giving
One account
$300
was
to?
about someone
Yeah.
referred to as Captain McCool, a sensitive person.
He
With
did
whom they
say
sought to
that it was cross-state, so he was going from one state to another state. So it could be that that's not right for whatever reason.
fill the vacant spot that the writer had left. When they asked him to move in with them, he was too nervous to turn them down directly, and so he claimed that he had been assaulted to avoid it. When they
Damn.
discovered his lie, they, quote, had him stuck in a chair and forced him to...
No,
He was
skip.
still living with them, but stayed in the attic and was
Yeah, I'm
forced to
skipping that.
remain as
I don't want to
quiet as
engage with that
possible.
content.
The writer expected some people in the Final Fantasy community to see this, but he couldn't expect the sort of attention it would receive.
Damn. Yeah, $300 is still a lot, though.
Word spread quickly about the LiveJournal post, and many fans of Final Fantasy, as well as Soul Bonders, commented that they had heard some details about Jen and the group in State
Across
College,
Spencer is like
but hadn't
400
known the
miles.
extent of their
Yeah, so
behavior.
maybe
Others who
$300
already
does
knew her
make
found these
sense.
claims
Because
unsurprising.
Pennsylvania was
Beyond the
huge,
community,
remember?
However, this story gained interest on forums.
On
including
4chan?
4chan, who treated it with disgust and fascination.
Of course
it
they
was
did.
soon adopted into general knowledge as a way to reference poor living conditions and soul bonders, a subsection of a group known as Otherkin. It was here that the infamous story earned its generally recognized name and misnomer, the Final Fantasy VII House, or often just the Final Fantasy House. Though the rest of the internet would sometimes question its veracity, the writer's account seemed generally accepted within the Final Fantasy community. He began to receive testimony from other people affected by the group, many of them people he had met during his time at the
Oh my
apartment.
God, crazy.
To share their correspondences, he created a website where he cataloged the accounts of those who approached him alongside his own. Due to the limited archival information available, it's difficult to say the rate at which he updated the site with new accounts, but it appears he was receiving them as late as 2006, with each person represented by a pseudonym. Some of these accounts were from people mentioned in the original LiveJournal post, and they helped elucidate the practices
Yeah,
of the group.
4chan is always a coin flip. They make it worse and make it better. Exactly. Like, they make it worse or better. It just depends, like, on the community you're dealing
Jen's
with.
and Hojo's behaviors. These accounts suggest an air of amateurishness yet charisma to everything Jen did. For example, one account from someone going by Zarla wrote, quote, "There were also tarot card readings and such while we were there. Jen had the same tarot deck I had as a kid, the Tarot of the Cat People, and she told my fortune using the exact same method outlined in the little booklet that came with the cards. I can't remember anything really specific about the readings, except there was always mention of something coming after me or something, thus the coughing. If I remember right, later we were playing with a Ouija board and that something or someone was again trying to contact us." Unquote. These accounts would also unanimously support the assertions about Jen from the original writer. One of the oddest entries, however,
This sounds
was an
cultish. It
open
does
letter
sound
prefaced by
cultish.
the LiveJournal writer. Quote, The following was taken from the Wayback Machine.
It's not a
It is
cult, I
posted
guess,
without
but it
consent
I mean, it
of the
does kind of sound
original
cultish,
author,
actually,
and I
no.
want to make that damn clear. She has nothing to do with it being here, so don't involve her. It is being backed up here due to the fact that it contains some current information that I felt should be edited out, like names or references to other people uninvolved. As far as I know, the original author is now happily farming turkeys in Idaho. Don't hassle her. This was written in 2003.
Yeah, a bit
The
culty,
article
yeah.
itself is apparently written by another active
Thing is,
member
like,
of the Soul.
Okay, this just sounds like... Okay, right. Let me be so for real. This just sounds like friends living together that just, like, went too far. Like, I have, like... I would love to live with my friends. Like, I would... My little... Like, my small friend group, even, like, the majority of my friend group, I'd love to live in a house with them. It'd be so good. It'd be so fun. Like, we'd all sit in a house, we'd all just play games, we'll play it. Like, I think about it very often. But I don't think about converting them to the cult of Strange and doing tarot readings for them and telling them that they're there from, like, past lives and shit. Like, it just sounds like friends who, ironically, are too close. How did this go from abuse to bringing up turkeys in Idaho? I don't know, Neo. I have no fucking clue.
Soul bonding community, though clearly no longer associated with Jen, under the pseudonym Candy Wrapper. The introduction
Candy
to the letter
Wrapper.
reads, Genova, when I became your apprentice, you told me to shut up and not argue with you. Apparently, a sorceress is supposed to be a creature who blindly accepts the opinions of the authorities, even when she firmly believes that they are wrong. From this, I learned that when Jen says something I disagree with, I need to nod and make agreeing sounds anyway. Otherwise, we would have to fight every 2 minutes, and quite frankly, saying what I thought wasn't worth the hassle. I am not, however, your apprentice anymore, and I am free to say what I think.
Yeah,
And I
girl
will,
boss
because
moment.
It's a relief to say it, even if you aren't reading this. I do not actually give a crap whether you read it or not. It will hurt your feelings, and you will care that it...
My OBS is like struggling to encode, but it's on the same settings that it always is on. I don't know why my OBS is being a baby. OBS way.
She shared some of her thoughts on Hojo and her relationship with Jen. If
Just
Renee does
doxed her.
not go to class and do her homework, it will be difficult for her to pass those classes. Then she is no closer to graduating. Until she graduates, it will be hard for her to get a job that makes more money than she gets now. This is called capitalism, and it's a bitch. No one likes it, but no one has come up with anything that works any better. Renee always has to call off work or skip class to give you attention. She does this because she loves you. Love makes people do irrational and reckless things. This
Huh.
is one of them. That does not make it a good idea. You are wrecking Renee's life. It is wrong to do so, even if you have her permission. A few other choice lines read, You have no money because you keep spending it on things you want. Anything you want is not automatically a magical item. There may be potential magic in everything.
I'm
but
in
then
New York
there's
State, and
magic
New
in
York
things
has
you don't
approximately
bother to look at.
54,000
Things you can have
square
for
miles.
free.
Jesus
If
Christ.
something is a magical
So
item,
big.
that doesn't mean you must own it. It would be nice if you could, but you can't always do so. I had money because I rarely bought anything for myself. Whenever I got some money, I would save it. I am not a money generator, and neither are my parents. If you want to have money, you need to not spend it. I now do not have money because I spent it on you. Poof, all gone. You still wanted more, but I didn't have any more
This
to
girl
give
is,
you.
like,
I
going
have been
in.
using crystals since I was 10 years old. You are wrong when you start with that you won't use them properly shit, because I've been using crystals since elementary school. You taught me no magic. The only thing I actually learned from you was to beware of people like you.
Damn!
But among these accounts, there was one that stood out from the others, and if it's to be believed, it showed just how far the manipulation of Jen's entourage could go.
Oh god, hold on, what is it? I saw some other ones as well that were like really biting.
In November of 2005, the LiveJournal writer entered email correspondence with a woman who went by Mela. Mela had apparently known and bonded with Jen in a Utah boarding school and rediscovered her
Damn,
online through an
the
open
rabbit hole
letter.
goes
Though
deep.
The quote in the email isn't quite the same. It's highly likely that the letter Mela discovered was the list written by Candy Wrapper. Hoping to reconnect, Mela asked the author of the letter for Jen's information.
Yeah,
and
you need to have
sometime
someone to
after,
ground
he visited
everybody,
Jen's
exactly.
residence for 2 weeks. Here, she claims Jen was able to convince her to spend $2,000 on various objects and food by asking only for small amounts at a time. Sometime afterward, likely in 2005, Mela made the decision to begin living with them. Quote,
Okay.
I moved in with $17,000 in my bank account, and soon Jen had drained all of that on necessities.
Damn,
all for the
17,000 is a
house,
lot,
many of which
too.
went into Jen's room and never came out. Soon I received a check from the investment company for $80,000, and Jen's spending began again in earnest. I tried to get her to stop spending.
Oh my
money
god,
on
okay,
frivolous
right. Here is a life lesson for everybody in chat. If you have money or you get money under any means, don't fucking tell anyone. Don't tell fucking anyone that you have money. Just don't. Don't tell people you have money. Just be content. Keep that shit to yourself. I'm being so for real. Like, I do a thing which has always worked for me, okay? And this might sound really selfish, but it is the way that I live and survive. I pretend that I am poor. I used to be poor, so it's not hard, but I pretend that I can only spend X amount of money this month because I only have that amount of money. The rest of the money goes straight into my savings. I can't even touch it. It takes me like 10 days to withdraw it, for example. It's there for emergencies, but like, it's not there otherwise, okay? Just pretend you are poor. Act like you are poor. Like, just do that. And no one will ever fucking ask you for anything, okay? Don't tell people. Okay, I got a raise recently, okay? I never said how much I got a raise of. I just tell everybody, hey, I got a raise. And it's like, oh, cool, nice. I don't tell people how much money I make because I used to live in this very toxic cycle when I lived with my family where I would make money and then they would ask me and then they'd be like, oh, I really want this, or oh, I really need money to like help with insert bullshit excuse here. Just don't fucking deal. Like, don't deal with people like that. I've met so many people like that. They're like, oh, I don't do IOUs. I don't do IOUs at all. Either you spend money on me because you want to, like how I do. I will spend money on you if I like you. I'm not, the money is no obstacle in my friendships, right? If I like you, I'll spend money on you. But also, like, don't do IOUs. Like, if I can't pay people back, I'm honest. I had a commission recently that I had to be very honest and be like, I can't pay you. I can't pay you back. And they were like, until this day. I didn't say why, I just said I couldn't, and they were very accepting. But that is someone that I've commissioned for a very long time, so they were very understanding. I would not pull that against somebody who I've only ever had, like, one commission with, for example. That's my fault. Like, it's not on them. I got a raise, now I can buy better ramen. Yeah, just, like, when you start making money, just shut up. Just don't tell anybody. Like, just don't tell anybody. It's just so much easier for yourself.
things, but every time I said no or told her she should spend her own money buying things for herself, she threw a fit. All this time, she was telling me how important I was to her special plan, how the world needed us to stick together so we could conquer evil, etc. I wanted desperately to feel special. I was scared and alone, and I believed her. She knew a few magic tricks, was very good at reading
I tell people I make
people,
$3
and
to
could
$4
give
less dollars than I do.
relatively accurate
I mean, it
tarot
does
readings to tell
work.
for her lives.
I just don't tell people how much I make, like, at all. It's not, one, it's nobody's fucking business. I don't live with you. If I like, the only people who know how much money I make are my partner and my flatmates, and probably, like, 2 of my friends. That is literally probably the only people who know how much money I make. Like, from all, and that's not even including Twitch and, like, other services that I do. I don't tell people the amount I charge for commissions. Also, hi, Blake. Just don't tell people, like, this is just a life lesson, okay? Just don't tell people how much money you make. Even if you really love them. Like, if you love them, if you live with them, you have to know, right? But people, like, me and V don't do IOUs, for example. Like, we just don't. Like, if he wants to spend money on me, he will, and if I want to spend money on him, I will do the same thing. Like, to be fair, the last time he spent money on me was probably, like, lunches and stuff, but also, books that I then use. Sometimes he'll buy things. He's not here, so I can say this. He'll buy me things, like books and shit. Like, I bought this book about dungeon mastering recently, right? He'll buy me books, and then I'll be like, oh, I always feel so bad. I feel so bad when anyone buys me or spends money on me. I feel like I'm in the wrong. I feel like I'm manipulating them. And I'm like, oh, I really, like, you have this, and like, oh no, it's fine, because you'll read this, and then you'll use it for our D&D sessions, and I'm like, that's so true. He's reinvesting. Is Jenny a manipulative person? Yeah, Jenny is a textbook manipulator. She only does things to gain the favor of people, and when those people act out against her, she acts in favorably. That is literally the definition of a manipulative person. I have met so many manipulative people in my time. I remember one time, my friends were all friends with this girl, and I get bad vibes from people. I get really bad vibes from people sometimes. Can I just be so honest? Hold on, let's put the music on. I tend to just get vibes. I don't know what it is. I think it's because of the way I was raised. But sometimes I just get such bad vibes from people. And I was like, this girl was doing a thing in my friend group, and I didn't really know her that well. And I kind of turned around and took my friend aside, my best friend at the time, and I said, you need to stop. I'm not telling you because I don't want you to stop being friends with me, because I know you won't. But you need to stop hanging out with this girl, because she is going to do something drastic, and you're going to be the one to blame. And then, guess what happened? Manipulative girl is something drastic, and then my friend got in trouble for it. And it fucking pissed me off so much. Like, it fucking annoyed me so much at the time. But I let my anger sit and seethe, okay? I don't know. I let myself seethe a little bit.
Line and sinker. Unquote.
I just get bad vibes from people. It's your sixth sense. It is my sixth sense. Even in the VTubing scene, I can't name names and I won't name names because that's drama, but I have watched some people and then been like, and then stopped watching them because I thought that something they did was a bit fucking weird. And then a thing came out about them and I'm like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. Like,
Mela claimed was remarkably violent. Jen was now sleeping exclusively with Angel, though sometimes Hojo would sleep with Angel as well. Hojo was forced to stay extremely silent during the day or risk being berated by Jen. This information strongly suggests that Hojo
I was in a community with dudes who kicked me out for not being able to get given criticism the way moderation was. She was talking about how there's so much drama in the channels, why not make a ticket system, and then I was cut off. Jesus Christ.
Much worse though. I don't think that girl ever bathed. They just kept adding perfume.
Ew!
And purple skirt/dress stinked to high heaven. That was until I made her other clothes to wear. Jen, during this time, was apparently made aware of the LiveJournal writer's website as well. At some point, it appears that they moved somewhere new, and it was here that she claimed she was beaten on multiple occasions. Once, during a dispute, one of them grabbed onto Mela's hair and started slamming her head into the floor.
What
while
the
Jen
fuck?
and Hojo beat her with their fists.
I'm telling you this right now, okay? I'm gonna skip this section. I'm telling you this right now. Ah! That's where they live? Fucking hell. Alright. No one is ever beating my ass. It's not happening. As soon as someone attempts to hit me, I'm going to jail. That's it. That's all I'm saying. I'm going to jail. Like, I used to be such an angry person, okay? I used to be so angry and so violent. I'm going to jail. Okay, that's all I'm saying. I'm not threatening anybody. I'm just saying I'm going to jail. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Jamela documented with photographs. They also had stolen numerous objects
Ew!
upon their departure, including board games, fabric, and a set of corsets, though her demand for back payments of rent, quote, in excess of 10K,
This house is fucking disgusting.
is suspiciously inexact. While this account is consistent with other reports of the group's behavior, there was no method by which anyone could verify the veracity of any of them, instead leaving only
This
the
reminds me of
rumors
how I
alone.
used to live. I say that's how I used to live in a very poor neighborhood, and my parents at the time were not clean people. Oh, this is making me cringe a little bit.
The author would finally reveal the faces of Jen and Hojo. In the frequently asked questions section, he wrote,
Does it actually show the faces? Oh, okay. It's not that bad.
"Is this photo Vincent/Jen/Hojo? 90% of the time, no. This was Jen in 1999. She got fatter and dirtier. This was Renee in 2000. She looks the same." In response to this attention,
See?
Jen and
They
Hojo-
okay, apart from the fucking stupid lab coat, they look normal. Oh, they look normal. Oh god, that's the worst bit, is it
began to
not?
frantically delete most traces of themselves online, and even with their names publicly available, nobody could find them. After this, the attention on these stories began to wane. But only a few years after the accounts were posted, the Final Fantasy house would return in a way that nobody expected and, at first, seemed entirely unrelated.
Okay. The Final Fantasy house. Insane
On July
housemate.
15, 2008, a LiveJournal user by the name of Dragon...
Exactly! Yeah, I didn't spend 2 years getting an appreciation of being alive just to get pushed around like that. Exactly! I'm going to jail. I'm going to jail. I'm not letting anyone hurt me anymore. It's just not gonna happen. If I go to jail, and you're like, oh, hit Vtuber and MissedStrange went to jail, just know. You know. I don't even have to say it. You know, I won. That's all I want to say.
Tigerclaw wrote a post entitled Insane Housemate Part
Oh,
1
God.
and published it on Housemate Horror, an open, moderated page where people could share their stories of bad roommates. The opening reads, quote, "I used to live in an awesome situation in SoCal until the housemate from hell moved in. Fortunately, she has left, but the bitterness remains on my tongue. It is a saga that
Someone
can only
calling
be
her.
told in
Yeah,
pieces. Please bear with
they're
me.
going to jail.
In the cut, you will find part 1 of the saga involving the girl who believed she was a video game character." Unquote. Soon, the author would name himself.
Someone is going to
Pete.
lose
The
teeth.
tale
I
was
won.
Structured in irregularly sized sections, with many of them ending on cliffhangers. He explained that he was living with 5 other people in a 4-story house. He claimed that the rent was a preposterously low $500 a month, and that the landlord, Matt, kept it that way because his chief concern was that he wanted company in the house he had inherited. However,
That's
his
nice.
standards
Okay.
for roommates were high.
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, if I inherited a house, I don't think I will. But if I inherited a house and I was like kind of like lonely, I would just kind of rent it out and just pick and choose who I wanted to live there. Kind of weird, but also like you're a landlord. You can do what the fuck you want. Like,
they all had to have stable income and employment and be
Yes.
at least 25 years old. The woman who was chosen after their screening process was kept anonymous by Dragon Tiger Claw and was given the placeholder name
Of
Sarah,
Sarah.
who moved in without much trouble. She claimed to be a 27-year-old computer programmer who already had a job in the area, but when she went back to work after
yeah,
the move,
the whole okay, right, Blake. You just thought like the people who like will write like hot. Okay, people who are attracted to murderers or sympathize with murderers are some of the weirdest fucking people in the world. I think, and that's so weird because I just said like, oh, if I did this, I go to jail. People who sympathize with murderers are fucking weird. Okay, unless like people. Okay, and by murderers I mean people who kill people for no discernible or not a good reason. Like, there was a lady who like shot a man because like he had done stuff to her daughter, and I think that's that's like a female rage embodied, right? But yeah, I don't know. Like, some people who commit like unexplainable crimes. I have a bigger thing to say about this, but it's also like not appropriate, so I'm just gonna not talk about it. But I'd love to do a whole video about it or something.
She consistently delayed accepting it, which made them suspicious. But much more striking was her connection to a particular game. Quote, in the 3 weeks that followed, Sarah was still unemployed. She spent all her time playing video games in the family room. She would play the same game over and over, some crappy-looking RPG from the 90s. It had an unpronounceable name, but Sarah said she was bonded to the game. She also told us that she changed her name to be that of one of the game characters. Upon further discussion, she explained that she believed she was the human incarnation of this character and that they shared a soul. Unquote. Pete refused to reveal what character she was claiming to be, however, since it would be identifying information. This game would, in the second update, be revealed to be the Japanese RPG Suikoden, released in 1995.
Suikoden?
Soon afterwards, a friend of hers came to visit the house. She also believed herself bonded to a Suikoden character, specifically Sasarai, but since Pete could neither spell nor pronounce it, he simply called her something. After spending a week together playing video games, they picketed a barbecue that the rest of the housemates were having. Though they had been given vegetarian options to join, they refused on moral grounds, denouncing them for eating meat. After they were aggressively told off, they were asked for a house meeting, which took place in March, to discuss whether or not Sarah would be allowed to stay. Sarah attempted to explain herself. Quote, Sarah lifted her head and started to talk. She started with, I am sorry, but you have to understand where I am coming from. She also said, lots of people can't understand me because I have such a high intellect, it is beyond their grasp.
Lots of people cannot understand me because I have an intellect beyond their grasp. That's it. I'm not even commenting on that. I'm just repeating it. It's fun.
Excuse us for being sane, bitch. Unquote. They eventually learned that she had used friends' help to get past the screening process. She had never had a job in California, was from the East Coast, and used a friend's address to get a California driver's license while another posed as her boss. Matt allowed her to stay until May 1st, since she had already